Hello and welcome, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this educational webinar on how to fill system gaps with Power Apps. My name is David Doyle, and I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Quicksand Solutions. Joining me today is Craig Day, one of our implementation specialists and an expert in Power Apps. Quicksand Solutions is a boutique consultancy and Microsoft partner based in Canada. We specialize in helping businesses through all phases of their digital transformation and are experts in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 suite of products, both enterprise resource planning solutions and CRM solutions, as well as the Microsoft Power Platform, which is comprised of Power BI, Power Automate, Power Portals, and Power Apps. Our team members have delivered over 200 successful projects globally in their combined experience of more than 50 years. Our webinar today will focus specifically on Microsoft Power Apps and how that software can be leveraged to deploy custom capabilities to your internal business systems. The webinar will include a brief question and answer session after the presentation. So if you have any questions about the material covered in the webinar or about Power Apps in general, you can enter your questions into the chat window and we will do our best to answer all of them at the end of the webinar. At this point, I'd like to hand over the presentation to Craig Day. Over to you, Craig.
Thank you very much, David, for the introduction, and thank you all for joining us today. In this webinar, we'll be looking at how Power Apps can help you fill the gaps in your current management systems, such as your ERP or CRM. First, what is Power Apps? Microsoft Power Apps is a user-friendly platform to help you build custom applications without the need for extensive coding knowledge or development experience. With Power Apps, you can create web and mobile applications that meet your exact business needs by utilizing pre-built templates and customizing them to suit your specific scenario, or by building your own apps from scratch. You can easily connect your app to various data sources, such as SharePoint lists, Excel tables, or cloud databases like Microsoft Azure SQL Database. Power Apps also seamlessly integrates with other Microsoft tools and services, such as Microsoft Dynamics 365 and other applications, closing the gaps between your systems and creating precise tools to meet your business's unique needs. The main benefit of using Power Apps is that the applications are tailor-made to fit your exact needs, so there are no missing pieces and no unnecessary elements slowing you down. Applications can be accessed on web or mobile devices from anywhere, including offline capability to support workers who do not have access to an internet connection. The platform also offers secure and customizable user access so that you can control who has access to your app and even which specific features they can access once they connect. As a Microsoft product, Power Apps offers robust integration with a host of services, connectors, and other applications to save you time and ensure higher levels of data accuracy and integrity. And finally, Power Apps uses a low-code, no-code development model that makes the app creation process much simpler and faster than traditional development methodologies. Depending on the complexity of your app requirements, you could have your own custom-built app in as little as 3 weeks. Let's dive into some examples of custom applications that we have built for our Quicksand clients. Today, we'll be looking at custom apps for equipment maintenance and scheduling, time and expense integration, streamlined sales order entry, and data collection and reporting. However, there are many ways to use Power Apps, and this is by no means an exhaustive list. So if you don't see an example that aligns with your business's needs, that doesn't mean it can't be done. Please feel free to submit questions about your specific app requirements, and we'll be happy to provide feedback during the Q&A portion at the end of the webinar. Our first example is of a custom maintenance and scheduling app. Our client needed an application to maintain records of their equipment and resources and to stay on top of maintenance through automated, proactive maintenance scheduling. This solution needed to be easily accessible from mobile or web-based devices, and it needed to enforce role-based security. We delivered a solution that allows the client to manage their equipment and resources by leveraging an app with fully configurable views, filtering capability, and role-based security. We also created an automated workflow that creates scheduled maintenance work orders based on preset and configurable maintenance requirements. This custom solution allowed the client to easily and effectively manage their equipment and resources within a single application. Additionally, the app drove a shift from reactive to proactive maintenance, reduced downtime, and saved the client time and money on repair and replacement costs. Next, let's look at how you can build custom Power Apps for time and expense integration. Our client utilizes Microsoft Dynamics Business Central as their ERP system, and they required Power Apps to integrate technician time entries, technician expenses, and vendor invoices with Business Central. Critically, the apps needed to be streamlined for use on mobile devices, since both technicians and managers would be utilizing the apps when they were away from their computers. Additionally, business processes needed to be as automated as possible to reduce unnecessary manual review and entry. To meet these requirements, Quicksand Solutions delivered 3 connected Power Apps applications, each of which serves a different purpose in the client's business process. First, technicians utilize a tech app, which allows them to record time entries and expenses. A validation app allows for a different user to review and correct time entries that were submitted in the tech app. And finally, a management app allows managers to review validated entries prior to posting transactions in the ERP system. Supplementing this, Quicksand also implemented optical character recognition, or OCR, to automatically create entries for vendor invoices that were emailed to the client. The vendor invoices flow through the same validation and management process before being posted to Business Central. By investing in Power Apps technology, the client was able to keep its payroll costs down significantly by providing their technicians and managers with custom, tailor-made time and expense-based applications. Submission and review of time entries and expenses were made far simpler and could be easily managed by a small team using web or mobile devices. Lastly, the solution integrated with multiple areas of Business Central, including jobs, budgeting, and vendor invoices. This allowed the client to more effectively manage their invoice payments, job planning, budgeting, and cost tracking. Our next example demonstrates how you can create streamlined sales order entry apps to manage complex sales offerings. Our client utilizes Microsoft Dynamics Finance and Supply Chain Management to manage their customer sales and inventory. Due to the nature of the products they sell, the client had over 10,000 individual SKUs or item codes. This made sales entry very challenging with their existing system, since users would often inadvertently select the wrong product due to the high number of similar product codes. They required a streamlined sales order entry solution that integrated with their existing system. The system needed to be intuitive and process-driven to ensure that the correct items were always selected. Quicksand Solution delivered a custom-built embedded Power App solution that fully meets the customer's needs. The interface follows a logical process based on the customer's business requirements, and the application dynamically selects the correct product code based on the criteria the user has selected. The process-driven solution takes the guesswork and uncertainty out of entering sales lines and vastly improves the accuracy of the entered data. Plus, the app is directly accessible from within the client's existing system, making for a seamless transition between the two. Quicksand delivered a tightly integrated, efficient, and accurate sales order entry application that was specifically tailored to the client's needs. Data entry speed was greatly increased, and entry errors were virtually eliminated due to the structured selection process. SKUs are dynamically selected, taking the burden and uncertainty off the user entering the line. The client was so pleased with the initial project we completed for them that they soon after reached out to request a second Power Apps application to integrate their sales orders with their warehouse management system operations. Our final example showcases how Power Apps can be used for centralized data collection and reporting. Our client required a single application that can be used for different purposes by 7 different departments. Additionally, the data collected must be centralized to facilitate reporting at departmental and consolidated levels. Access to the app needed to be controlled based on the user's role and requirement. Finally, the client requested the ability to manage their own setup and administration options within the app itself. Quicksand Solutions delivered a single application with multiple screens to manage each department's requirements. When users log in, the app validates their email address and directs them to the appropriate screen. Users cannot access screens that are not associated with their department. Each screen is tailored to the department's specific business requirements. Radio buttons and drop-down menus are used to ensure that data collected is accurate and consistent. This is augmented by Power BI reporting, which integrates fully with the application. Import functionality is also provided for quick entry of data from external systems. Within a single multi-purpose application, we provided our client with the means to effectively manage their data collection, administration, and reporting needs from multiple departments. We eliminated various external and highly manual data collection systems by consolidating the data and functionality in Power Apps. This drove improved visibility and reporting across departments and increased collaboration among departmental members. Data collected is cleaner and more consistent, facilitating better reporting. These examples I've discussed are just a hint of what's possible through Power Apps. To discuss Power Apps licensing requirements, extensions, and add-ons, I would like to hand the presentation back to our Director of Sales and Marketing, David Doyle.
Thank you, Craig, for those excellent examples of how we've used Power Apps to build custom solutions to help some of our clients streamline their business processes. Let's quickly talk about licensing of Power Apps. If you are already subscribed to a Microsoft 365 plan that includes Power Apps, you can access the platform's capabilities without the need for separate licensing arrangements. Alternately, Power Apps Premium, which is designed for individuals who need versatile access to create, use, and share custom apps, provides all the features you need to drive innovation and productivity user by user. In addition to Power Apps Premium, there's also Power Pages that comes in two flavors. Anonymous users per site, which allows external users to access and browse the low-code business websites anonymously, and authenticated users, which gives users access to low-code business websites with authenticated access, most likely used for customer portals, vendor portals, and other sites that are outside of your enterprise but still need authenticated access to the application. In addition to these, there's also an AI Builder add-on for Power Apps, which allows you to harness AI-driven insights, automate much more complex processes, and deliver enhanced user experiences. Again, I'd like to thank you, Craig, for the excellent information you shared with us today. That concludes the main presentation portion of the webinar. We'll now open the floor to questions. So I can see in the chat our first question, which is it possible to develop Power Apps without having a license? The answer to that question is no, it is not, because Power Apps is the platform upon which you develop these solutions. And in order to use it, you must have a license of some sort, either one that's included with your Microsoft 365 license, or you must license it separately. I can see a second question here. Can you utilize multiple environments in Power Apps? That sounds like a Craig question to me.
Thanks, David. Happy to speak to that one. Yes, you certainly can. You can have one production environment and up to 3 different development environments for Power Apps, and that is very commonly done so that you can test out your Power Apps and associated applications like Power Automate flows within a development context and confirm that they are working as intended before rolling them out to your production environment. We have a second question there that's also on the technical side, so I'll take that one as well. Is it possible to use multiple data sources in a single Canvas app? Can Power Apps access local network data sources? Yes, you can. Power Apps comes with many out-of-the-box connectors, which allow you to connect to various data sources like Business Central, Finance and Operations, different ones like that. You can also create your own data sources. And you can access local network sources as long as you have set up some sort of API or a way to connect to those as well. So it is possible to connect to things like local databases to use as a data source. One more there from Alex. Can you explain the difference between Canvas apps and model apps? So there are sort of two main types of Power Apps that you can develop, one being the Canvas app and the other, which is called the model-driven app. A Canvas app is one where you're basically starting with a blank canvas and you're going to design it with exactly the requirements that you need, the screens that you need, and the layout that you need. You can also use templates with the Canvas apps, but you're basically starting from a canvas and developing it the way you'd like. A model-driven app uses the standard interface that is used with other related applications like Dynamics CRM. So if you're familiar with any of those products, you'll see that the interface looks very similar, but you can still create your own custom pages and customize the screens as needed within that framework.
Excellent. Thank you, Craig. Doesn't look like we have any more questions coming through at this time. Should any of you have any additional questions, our contact information is being presented on the screen now. So please forward any questions you may have to myself or to Craig, and we'd be happy to answer them. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully, you've learned just how powerful some of these tools are at being able to streamline and improve functionality in your business to save you time and money. I'd like to thank Craig for his part of the presentation and showing us some of the fantastic gains that we've made with the solutions we've been able to develop at a few client sites. And that's pretty much it for us today on this webinar. Thank you all for joining us and have a fantastic day.